Hello, welcome back to another week on Downward Dog. My name is Mitzi. This week we are going to be doing a sun salutation flow with a focus on upper body strengthening and working to build up towards crow pose. So if you're ready, grab your mat, find a place to flow, and let's begin. Starting in child's pose, feet about the width of the mat, and you're going to reach your arms forward, lightly pressing your forehead on the mat, arms stretched out in front of you. And we're just going to connect to our breath here. So starting to notice your inhales through the nose and your exhales through the nose, slowing down your breathing. While you're connecting with your breath here, start to acknowledge yourself and thank yourself for turning up today. And I hope you're excited as I am for our practice today. So, continuing some lovely slow breaths. You might want to gently rock your head and then begin to walk the hands over to the left side of your mat, gently feeling a stretch on the right side of the body. Taking some more deep breaths here, and then slowly returning through center and then walking your hands towards the right of the mat, feeling that gentle side stretch on the left side of the body. And then slowly moving your hands back centrally and coming up onto your hands and knees into tabletop. We're going to begin doing some cat-cow, staying connected with the breath, inhaling the chest open, belly down, exhaling, curling through the spine, tucking under the hips. Inhale, opening up the chest, exhaling, rounding through the spine. Just keep doing this with your own breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, nice and slowly. We're warming up the spine here, getting ready for some further practice. So coming to neutral, shifting your hands slightly forward, shifting the hips slightly in front of the knees so you're in a half plank pose, and you're just going to slowly lower yourself all the way down to the floor. And then push yourself back up into that modified plank pose. Keep slowly doing this, lowering yourself, squeezing the elbows into the waist, and then pushing up. Here we're preparing for our chaturangas. Now, the next time you exhale, lower yourself down, but not quite touching the floor. You're just going to be hovering, so you're engaging at the arms, but you're not quite allowing your full body to press onto the floor. And then coming back into your child's pose. Just take a few minutes here, feeling the work that you've done in your arms, the preparation for more practice that we're doing today. Take some more energizing breaths in and out through the nose. And we're going to start preparing for the next part of the sequence. So, slowly coming back up to all fours. You can either stay at the last level we were doing before, but if you would like to build up and add on to this, you're going to come up into full plank. And to begin with, you're just going to slowly lower yourself, elbows tucked in, all the way down the floor. And then you might wish to lift up and open up the chest, having a stretch in the upper back. And then you're going to tuck the toes under and you're going to push back up into plank, keeping the body in line, tucking under the pelvis, and then slowly lower to the floor again. Opening up the upper back, maybe lifting the arms up, before planting the hands back under the shoulders, curling under the toes, engaging the core and pushing back up into your plank pose. If you'd like a bit more, then we can go into a half press up. So you're coming from plank and you're just lowering nice and slowly halfway, and then pushing up through plank and then into your downward facing dog. Remembering that you can rest at any time, come into your child's pose or join me here in downward facing dog. Pushing the shoulders away from the ears, neck is relaxed. You might like to pedal out the legs, taking it in turns to bend the knees, drawing the other heel to the floor and then alternating, sending the hips to the sky, pressing equally through the hands and feet. And then looking forward, stepping to the front of the mat between your hands, inhaling halfway up and exhale, forward fold, softening the knees and then coming all the way up to stand and then lowering the hands by your side. Well done. Preparing for our next round of sun salutations, inhaling the arms up overhead and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shin, flat back, halfway up. Exhale, hands down to the mat and stepping back into your plank. So we'll start with the modified, lowering the knees. We're going to come down halfway and then push back up and then press again all the way down into knees, chest, chin before lowering into your cobra pose on your inhale. And then exhaling, pushing back into your downward facing dog. So either resting in stillness or you may wish to paddle out the legs again, finding that downward dog position, pressing through the hands, engaging the fingers, looking to the front of the mat and stepping to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway up and then exhale, forward fold, inhaling all the way up, arms overhead to rise, and then exhale, hands back down your side. And we'll go again, inhaling the arms up over your head and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, your hands to your shins, flat back, and exhale, forward fold, planting down your hands. And again, we'll step back into your plank pose. So from here, you could repeat what we did last time by lowering your knees, or you could come into a full chaturanga. Elbows in, halfway push up, inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, and then exhale, pushing back into your downward facing dog. Connecting back with the breath and then looking to the front of the mat and stepping all the way to the front. Inhaling, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold before inhaling all the way up to the top of the mat, hands overhead, and exhale, hands by your side. Building up on this now, inhaling your arms up overhead and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, stepping the right foot back, coming up into your high crescent, inhaling the arms up, and exhale, sinking a bit deeper. Lowering your right hand inside your left foot, right hand to hip or up to the sky. If your neck allows, you can look up to that right hand or look to the left hand on the floor, and we're just going to feel that deep twist. You can stay here, or you may wish to bind your right hand behind your waist. Lowering the right hand now, stepping back into plank, find your flow, knees, chest, chin, or a full chaturanga, inhaling to upward facing dog or cobra, and then exhale, pushing back to your downward facing dog. Stepping to the front of the mat now, inhale halfway, exhale, forward fold, inhaling all the way up, hands overhead. We're going to repeat on the other side now. So when you're ready, inhaling your hands up, overhead, gentle back bend, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise, hands to your shins, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, planting the hands down, stepping the left foot back this time, grounding through the feet, coming up into your high crescent. Inhale, exhale, sinking through the hips. This time, placing your left hand inside your right foot, right hand to hip or up to the sky. Gaze can be at the floor or at your right hand up in the sky. Feeling that twist in the side body, You may wish to deepen this by binding that right hand to your left hip or the top of the thigh. Inhaling the arm back up, planting the hands both back down, stepping back into your plank and finding your flow. So knees, chest, chin, full chaturanga, or you can always skip this if you need a rest, coming into child's pose or joining us in our downward facing dog. Bringing your awareness back to your breath for a couple of more energizing breaths here in downward facing dog. Looking at your hands, jump or step to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway up, hands to shins, and exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, curling the spine up, vertebrae by vertebrae, head being the last thing to come up. Hands up over your head, and exhale, hands by your side. We're going to move on to chair pose, so standing in the middle of your mat. I'd like you to take a deep breath in, hands up overhead, and exhale, sink down as if you're sitting on a chair, pushing your bottom back. Inhaling the arms up, engaging the core, gaze is lifted. Aiming for your bottom to be back, you should just be able to see your toes over your knees, keeping your heart open, taking deep breaths here in and out through the nose. Exhale, lower your hands, and then inhale the arms up, lengthen the legs, and you can shake the legs out a little bit, or do whatever you need to do to release any tension here. Getting ready now, we're going to go again, but adding in a twist this time. So standing, feet hip width apart, inhale the arms up overhead, exhale bending through the knees, fingertips just grazing the floor, and then inhaling the arms up, keeping the chest open, bringing your hands into the heart center. So we're going to start moving into a twist, so keeping your hips and knees square, bringing your chest over to your left. You can hook your right elbow over your left knee for a deeper stretch, or keep it unhooked if this is too much. And you want to aim to keep the chest lifted towards the sky. And then release, exhale the arms down, inhale the arms up, coming back up to stand. Have another little shake out before we move on and do this on the other side. So inhaling the arms up overhead, exhale, bending the knees, squatting back as if you're on a chair, inhaling the arms up, hands to the heart center, and turning your gaze over to your right this time. Again, if you would like to hook your left elbow onto your right knee to increase that twist, sending your chest to the sky, gaze is lifted, continuing to breathe deeply into this pose. Before you release, hands back to the heart center, lowering the arms, inhaling, standing up, and again, have another shake out, shake your legs and your arms, and just release any tension. Okay, let's make our way down back to our hands and our knees in tabletop position, and we're just going to loosen up our wrists here, so fingers facing forward and just rocking forward and back, sinking the hips back and forwards just to loosen up the wrists. You can time it with your breathing, inhaling forward and exhaling back, and then turn your fingers out to the side and just gently rock side to side, releasing the wrists in this turned out variation. And then pointing your fingers towards your knees if you're able to, sitting back on your heels and just feeling that stretch at the back of your wrists as far as feels comfortable, not overdoing it. And then just release and shake out the wrists. Maybe you want to circle them a little bit, and making sure you go in the opposite direction as well. Okay, now that our wrists are a bit more warm up, we can start to loosen up and open up the hips. So we're going to come into Malasana or garland pose. And I'll show you the front on version to begin with. Just feet slightly wider than hips, hands up over the head, and then exhale, opening the knees and coming down into a squat. Depending on the flexibility of your hips, you might be slightly higher like this, and then gradually over time your hips will be able to sink down. Feel free to do this on a small stool or even a couple of blocks if you have some, and feel free to rock out the hips and just maybe sway side to side. Prepping for crow pose now. See if you can place your hands on the floor and then stretch your legs up into a forward fold, and then exhale, coming back into your squat. Do this with your own breathing, keeping your knees as bent as you need, inhaling, straightening the legs as much as you're able to, and then exhale, coming down into the squat, keeping your hands on the inside, the elbows on the inside of your knees. If you are new to crow pose, I would recommend practicing with a facilitator that can spot you, making sure you've got something soft in front of you in case you fall forwards. If it is within your practice, we can build up to it a bit more by pressing equally through our hands, squeezing your inner thighs on your upper arms and elbows. Playing with your balance now by lifting one foot at a time, and then maybe slowly building up and lifting both feet up. Gaze is lifted to further progress into another pose which is very similar, called crane pose, which is a bit more challenging than crow pose. Now this pose is very similar to crow, except you're really trying to tuck your knees into your armpits, and this takes quite a lot of strength, and I'm still in the process of working up towards this, and ideally you would have straight arms. So wherever you are in your practice, feel free to have a play around now, as long as you're doing it safely. Releasing out your wrists a little bit, let's prepare for our final relaxation, which we're going to return to where we started in child's pose. So feel free to do the extended arm variation we did at the beginning with your knees wide, so your chest can fall within, arms extended in front. If you would like, you could do the other variation with your knees together and your arms down by your side, or if you would prefer to rest in Shavasana or corpse pose. Really connecting with your breath now, feeling the air as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Taking slow and deep breaths, feeling everything slow down, feeling your heart rate come down, and taking note of the work that you've done today in this class. Can you feel any tension? Can you let it go? Slowly now, bringing your way to a seated position, you'll do a few more energizing breaths. Inhaling the arms up overhead, exhaling the hands into heart center. And again, inhale your hands up over your head and exhale, bringing them into your heart center. Final one, inhaling your arms up overhead and exhale, bringing your hands to your heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed this flow with a bit of crow practice. I'm starting to get drenched in the rain now, so I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.